All right, I'm gonna start by saying this is not a frugal mom video. This is not a judgment video. These are just things that I stopped buying as a stay-at-home mom. Not because we had to deprive ourselves, but because they quietly stopped making sense for us, for the life that we are building. If money has ever felt tight or heavy, even when you're being responsible, this will probably feel very familiar. When I first stayed home, I thought the goal was to keep everything exactly as it was, just less income. I had brought out the spreadsheet and we would make it. It all made sense on paper. Same habits, same spending, same expectations. And honestly, that was what kept us feeling stretched. It wasn't one big expense. It was a bunch of small automatic purchases that didn't really fit our season anymore. So instead of cutting everything at once, I started asking simple questions. Does this actually support our life right now? The first category I stopped buying as often was convenience. Not because convenience is bad, but because it's expensive when it becomes the default. So examples would be last minute takeout because I didn't feel like making dinner, pre-made meals, or impulse quick fixes. I realized I wasn't paying for food, I was paying to avoid thinking. Once I planned just a little differently, a lot of those costs disappeared without even feeling restrictive. This one surprised me. I stopped buying things that I thought that I was supposed to have. Clothes for imaginary events, home items that I felt like I just wanted or that would make my house more aesthetic or calm or cozy or clean, curriculums that would magically make life smoother and easier, and we wouldn't be spending all day doing X, Y, and Z because this curriculum is supposed to work better. Most of those purchases weren't about the need, but about pressure. Letting those things go created space, not only mentally, but financially. Another thing that I stopped buying was duplicates. I'm so guilty of this. I will forget that I bought something and rebuy it. So that was the other thing that I stopped doing, was buying duplicates. And then also overbuying, buying more supplies than we actually needed. Yes, I have a Costco membership, but do I actually need to grab the 1,000-gallon of pine salt because it's there? No, I didn't. A little thing of pine salt will literally last us probably a month or more because we dilute it first off, and it wasn't making sense. And to be honest, like, buying more supplies than we needed meant more options, and it was just more than we realistically could use. So I noticed that when life felt chaotic, I tried to fix it by buying solutions. But by simplifying, it actually helped more. It helped me more to simplify things than it did adding things. Having less but using it consistently, that lowered the stress and spending at the same time. This might sound backwards, but I also stopped buying things that cost me time. Things that created more maintenance, more organization, more mental load. As a stay-at-home mom, this is just as valuable as money. If something added stress instead of reducing it, it wasn't worth it, even if it was on sale. And I think some of this goes with, I know that the aesthetics that we watch all the time on social media of the perfect refrigerator and the different organization bins and stuff. I have recently been getting rid of my organization bins and just using the boxes that they came in because it was too much stress to have to refill those all the time with everything else that's going on in my life and with everything with homeschooling and extracurriculars and just taking care of a household. It just was too much. Like, what do we actually need? And you know what I honestly noticed is that those bins were taking up much more room in my refrigerator than I actually realized. Because when I took the bins out, I felt like there was actually more room. in my refrigerator, and I wasn't confined to those spaces. If adding something stresses you out, it's not worth it. Just don't do it. Even if it's on sale, don't do it. Even if social media is telling you that you need it, don't do it. What changed wasn't just what we had bought, but what we decided or how we decided. I stopped seeing spending as allowed or not allowed, and I started seeing it more as aligned or not aligned. Does this work? Does this not work? If it doesn't work, it's gotta go. If it's not going to work in our season of life, I'm not going to buy it. And I noticed that I have become more intentional with this, because even during the Christmas season, when everybody wanted the, what was it? Oh my gosh, why can't I think of it? When everybody wanted that certain Christmas feeling with the plaids and whatnot, I found that because I had already put these like, does it align or does it not align? When I put this in place, and I've already put this in place, when I went shopping, I didn't feel the need to fall into that trap of wanting the same thing that everybody else wants just because it is that year's aesthetic. And it is beautiful, like, don't get me wrong, but I didn't feel like I needed to do that, and I was okay with what I had already had at home. So that's one of the things, like, did it align or did it not align with my current season? And at this time in my season, like, I am okay with what I have. I'm content with what I have. And so that shift just made it more intentional and not as restrictive. Like, I didn't feel like I've been restricted from buying things. It's just I'm more intentional with what I buy, if that makes sense. And honestly, that's when things feel a little bit lighter, because you don't feel like you're missing out. You don't feel like your money went to waste, or that you bought something out of impulse, because you're actually thinking, like, where am I going to put this in my house? You're being intentional with it. You are trying to figure out, will it fit? Do I have room? Does it fit a need that we have? And will it be here tomorrow if I need it? If you're listening to this and you are thinking, I could never do that, I want to say this very gently. You don't have to have all of it. We don't have to keep up with the Joneses. The Joneses are in debt, but making these shifts is making it breathable again. This isn't about perfection. It's about awareness. Even changing 1 or 2 habits can create breathing room. And sometimes that's all you need to feel hopeful again. And for me, that one step that I first took was buying a cheap espresso machine and my favorite syrup for coffee in the morning, so that I felt like I was still having my fancy coffee from the coffee shop, but I made it sustainable for our life. And so just those little kind of flips make it so much more breathable. I'm not sharing this to tell anybody that they shouldn't buy anything at all. I'm sharing this because intentional small changes added up to a calmer and more breathable lifestyle for us. And it's not about completely not buying anything. It's about making those little tweaks that make it sustainable for you and your life and your season of life. If you want to see how I plan our weeks and spending in a way that supports this mindset, I'll link a few things below. And if this season feels heavy, you're not alone. It doesn't mean that you're doing anything wrong. I'm really glad that you're here and you stayed to the end of the video. YouTube has a few videos that they think that you might like. Go ahead and check those out. Until next time, guys, I will see you later. Bye.